It is Thursday, March 30th, 2023. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oop, I'm sorry. All righty. Good morning. Look at this, huh?
Oh my God, I love it. Everybody's online.
Who's that? Is that Heinz Ward?
Yep.
Yeah, looks like Heinz Ward up there. He's making a comeback. What's going on, Phil? Look at all those faces
Not at
up
all.
there. I'm telling you. I like it when the green team just says green team. We don't have, Lou must be hiding. He's trying to work from home, not like, there he is. There he
He
is.
heard you.
She's staying back because of the COVID. Yeah. All
She's
right.
on. She's there.
Yeah, look at Audrey's there. She's in her office.
There she is.
Audrey, look at
I'm used to
that.
you sitting here.
She
Audrey.
couldn't stand.
Audrey, it's just not the same without you here in person.
You couldn't stand us any longer, so you stayed back.
You guys are gonna be confused when you say Audrey now because it'll be me or Audrey.
You know what? We could play tic-tac-toe up here almost right now. Look at that. We could, All right, well, we'll open the meeting. Public comments. If anyone has any public comments, we ask you to come up to the podium, give your name and address, and 3 minutes. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to approval of previous minutes of board meeting number 11 from Thursday, March 23rd, 2023, and approval of bills for payment.
So moved?
Second,
Roll call.
Commissioner Remedy-Agati?
yes.
Commissioner Trafficante?
Yes.
Commissioner Ditzler?
Yes. Advertisement for bids, OMB grants.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning, Ann.
Good morning. This is an advertisement for Borman Township Meadowbrook Improvement Project. This is non-general. It's the Community Development Block Grant funding.
Okay, thank you, Ann. Motion for advertisement for bids.
Motion approved advertisement for bids number 1.
Second,
Roll call.
Commissioner Remedy-Agati?
yes.
Commissioner Trafficante?
Yes.
Commissioner Ditzler?
Yes. Journal entries.
Motion to approve journal entry number 1.
Second,
Roll call.
Commissioner Remedy-Agati?
yes.
Commissioner Trafficante?
Yes.
Commissioner Ditzler?
Yes. All right, agreements, auditors, data.
Tina? Tina?
Tina?
Down
Well, I'm waiting for it.
here. Just figuring
Hi.
out.
All right, Tina, there you go.
Hi, Tina Murdich. On behalf of the auditors and data, we request approval for the upgrade of the audio visual equipment in the commissioners' conference rooms in the amount of $24,242.71, along with the 1-year service agreement for $1,124.
Okay, great. Thanks, Tina.
Mhm.
Convention and visitors.
Good morning, everyone. Letter B is an agreement with Green Spring Media for advertising in Group Tour magazine during 2023 in the amount of $2,910, non-general. And letter C is an agreement with K&M Creative, doing business as McConnell Marketing for our advertising, graphic design, and marketing support in an amount not to exceed $50,000.
Okay, thanks, Linda. Engineers.
Commissioners. Letter D is an agreement with Vita Freightliner in Youngstown for repairs to vehicle number 534 in the estimated amount of $1,654.06. Letter E is an agreement with Hill International for repairs to our vehicle number 55 and the estimated amount of $2,046.86. Letter F is a memorandum of understanding with the Village of Sebring for reimbursement of a portion of Johnson Road resurfacing project. Letters D and E are non-general funds.
Okay, great. Thanks, Rick. Facilities.
Good morning, Commissioners. G is an agreement with York Mahoning Mechanical Contractors Incorporated for boiler work at the Justice Center in the amount of $14,000, and that's general.
Okay, thanks, Alan. Jobs and Family. Audrey.
Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, Audrey in our office. Good morning, Nancy. Good morning, Jim. Letter H for Job and Family Services, the agreement with Juvenile Justice Center for CSEA 4D services in the amount of $801,556.25. FFP reimbursement, $529,027.13, non-general. Thank you.
All right, Audrey. Lead-based. Phil.
Good morning, Commissioners. Letter I is an agreement with the Howland Company for lead hazard control and healthy homes work, 937 Mercer, in the amount of $9,611.50 non-general. And J is an agreement with American Pinnacle Construction for lead hazard control and healthy homes work at 415 Sanderson, in the amount of $16,750, also non-general.
Okay, thank you. Prosecutors.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is their lawyer's liability insurance coverage, an amount of $15,006. It's non-general.
Thanks, Jim. Joseph.
Good morning, everyone. L is an agreement with Greenwood Chevrolet for repairs to their 2018 Ford Super Duty F-350, an estimated amount of $5,423.36. That's non-general.
Did Green wreck that truck?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yes. All right, motion to approve agreements.
Motion to approve agreements A through L.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Remedy Agati?
Yes.
Commissioner Trafficante?
Yes.
Commissioner Ditzler?
Yes. Resolutions.
Motion to approve resolutions, number one addition.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Remedy Agati?
Yes.
Commissioner Trafficante?
Yes.
Commissioner Ditzler?
Yes. Okay, record of bids, sanitary.
Letter A is the Midlothian Glenwood area sanitary sewer rehab project. It's an improvement project, number 540.
Sheriffs.
Commissioners, B is a bid for the food service for the inmates at the Mahoning County Jail.
I thought Carol made Brajol and sent it over there, no?
She can't do it anymore.
I'm not allowed. Jerry won't let
You
me
must have
know.
been charging too much.
They
I
complain. Inmates complain.
Too good or too bad?
I'll tell you what, I'll take all the Brajol she can make, believe me. You know, my waistline doesn't need it, but my taste buds loved it, so. Okay, motion to approve record for bids.
Motion to approve record of bids A and B.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Remedy Agati?
Yes.
Commissioner Trafficante?
Yes.
Commissioner Ditzler?
Yes. Resolutions, Commissioners, OMB.
Commissioners, this is a resolution approving the amendments, addendums, and expenditures with the following with COVID-19 public health and funded by ERA 2s in the following amounts: non-general, MyCap, $385,271, Catholic Charities, $300,000, and YWCA, $350,000. I read numbers better here than I do over there. Anna, do you want to have anything to say in regards to those since you put those in? You're good? Okay, item B is a resolution appointing Arthur Concert as the county apiary inspector for the 2023 season. Item C is a resolution approving a budget of Austintown, Boardman, Mahoning County Joint Communications District, and that is the county share for those agencies at the county services, and also to help with the transitioning that's been going on there. Item D is a resolution to transfer funds from the Medicaid Sales Tax Transition Fund to the Criminal and Administrative Justice Fund. This is the balance of those funding that the county received with the loss of the Medicaid sales tax revenues. That is going to pay off debt obligation related to the 911 dispatch center.
Okay, thanks, Audrey. Engineers.
Yes, letter E is a resolution approving a moral obligation payment of $255.67 to Ohio Edison for traffic light services. Letter F is a resolution of necessity to purchase hot mix asphalt from 5 vendors through the state's cooperative purchasing program in excess of the $50,000 threshold. Those vendors are Lindy Paving, Tri-County Asphalt Materials, Allied Corporation of North Jackson, Allied Corporation of Canton, and Marzane Incorporated.
Excellent. Thanks, Rick. Facilities, G.
G is a resolution of necessity to purchase supplies, miscellaneous parts, and materials from 2 vendors through the State of Ohio Cooperative Purchasing Program in excess of the $50,000 threshold. Brewer Garrett Company and CSC Service Works Incorporated.
Okay, thanks, Alan. Jobs and Family, Audrey.
Okay. Good morning. Letter H, Job and Family Services. This resolution is approving the removal and termination of 1 employee of the department effective September 13th, 2022.
Okay, thank you. Lead-based.
Letter I is a resolution authorizing satisfaction of mortgage for a forgivable loan for a rehab program under the CHIP grant from some years ago.
Okay, OMB grants.
Yeah.
Audrey, Anna.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is a resolution authorizing the contribution of $250,000 from the general fund to support soil and water.
Okay, and recycling.
Morning, Commissioners. Item K is going to be resolution necessity to purchase a commercial investor composter. This composter will allow us to take on the food waste from Second Harvest Food Bank, and then the yield from that food waste, the finished compost, will go into supporting the greenhouse of both Bev Road and the campus care. Commissioners, I'd like to add that the $100,000 of this composter will be paid for through a grant from Ohio EPA.
Nice. Lou, if you need some good compost, I've been dumping leaves in this ravine in my backyard for 35 years. And I filled it about 20 feet. So it's got some rich compost down there. I don't know what it's good for, but it's got to be good for something. All right. And at this time, I have to, I don't mean, I didn't call for the approval, I'm sorry. All right, motion to approve resolutions, I'm sorry.
Motion to approve resolutions A through K.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Remedy Agati?
Yes.
Commissioner Trafficante?
Yes.
Commissioner Ditzler?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I won't embarrass Nancy this time. I'll embarrass Hannah, so we want to introduce our newest member of the board staff, Hannah Butler. She started this week, and she's gonna have a lot of assistant titles. She'll be the face out front when you come into the commissioners, and I think her actual title is assistant clerk of the
No,
board. Deputy clerk of the board, assistant deputy clerk of the board. So, Hannah, you want to say anything or say a little bit about yourself? And she came from the library, the County Library Association. Fill us in a little bit about yourself, so we can put you on the spot.
Like you said, my name's
Come on, stand up, you gotta, we wanna make sure everybody knows who they're gonna talk to when they call.
My name is Hannah Butler. I did start this week as deputy clerk in the commissioner's office. Like they said, I worked 5 years in the library. I've worked in almost every branch in the county. And I'm very excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you. We're very happy to have you. She's gonna be a great addition to our staff and will do a great job, I'm sure of it. So, thank you. All right. Any electeds, department heads, anybody have anything for the good of the order? Linda, anything great going on? What's happening?
Well,
I haven't kept up on what's happening this weekend, but I can look up for you. Got some
Oh, that's
family
okay.
issues this weekend, so I don't know what.
Isn't Anthony playing at the concerts in the park and, you know, and gonna play a little bit of AC/DC on his guitar?
Is that true?
Can you
We
get
have
me
to,
booked?
gotta get him scheduled out there.
Is that true? Down at the amphitheater?
Yeah,
Give some
get 'em-
guitar
Well,
lessons.
why
Get
don't
'em
you
down.
just, what you should do is just bring it with you during the lunch hour, go down to the amphitheater, plug it in and start playing.
Well, you did that the once here. You
I
brought your
did.
guitar
Yes,
in
I
and,
It was fun.
yeah, played it, so, all good.
Thank you.
Anybody? Jim, I didn't make it down Sunday, but, you know, it's, we were out of town over the weekend and, you know, but we had the laying of the roses and, you know, that's always, you know, it's always a great opportunity to show the respect to people that so deserving didn't get their due respect, you know, and from Vietnam. So you want to give us a little insight about that?
Sure. The keynote speaker lives in this area, grew up on the south side. And what was unique about his speech was he touched upon 6 of his friends he grew up with, all died in Vietnam between the ages of 18 and 21. And one was Ryan Stankel's uncle.
Wow.
Robert Stankel. So he really made it personable.
Yeah.
You know, with someone who grew up here, knew the Mahoning County, and thinking about his buddies. That's what made it so special. Carol was there, and it was a nice weather day. Usually it's so cold, but you look, there were so many empty chairs, and you think, wow, you know, it's getting where you hope it continues, and it has to be now, you know, the younger generation, because we're the old guys, the parents are deceased.
Yeah.
And the brothers or sisters or relatives. But, and it was tied into National Vietnam Memorial Day. And
What was that,
it
March
was on the
29th?
29th, 50 years ago on March 29th is when Saigon fell. And that's when, if you remember on the news, you saw the helicopter and people trying to grab on. So they've made that a national holiday now on the 29th to remember Vietnam. And it's just sad all these years later that you think, why were we there? Should have we been there? Them 100 and some on the wall that never had an opportunity to live their life, to have a family.
Yeah.
And the relatives still living, it'll never end for them either.
Well, Tommy and his brother were, every year were there with them.
Yes,
They were still, it still killed them.
yes. Tom mentioned about his parents. He said he was 13 when the chaplain knocked on their door. And he said he knew something was either injured or his brother deceased. And he said his parents after that never were the same. And how could they? And I mentioned before, they never had a car. Every day till they died, they walked to the cemetery and never got over it. So, but thank you. I'm, you know, I feel I'm one of the lucky ones. And, you know, sometimes you get where you have survival guilt. When I look at that and say, you know, I've lived a life, I've been able to do things. So that's why I like to talk about it.
It reminds you of the Tom Hanks
Yes.
movie at the end when the young kid that he saved, you know, says, "I hope I made you proud."
Yes.
You know, you get to that point where so many people gave their lives for you to have your life.
Yes.
You know, including all of us. You know, and you know, and then you look back and you know, as his parents did, you know, what could have been.
Yes.
And, you know, I think that we all have a date next to our name and nothing's going to change it, you know, so. Anyway, God bless you and thank you for, you know, being part of
Thank you.
it, so.
I appreciate
And I
that.
think next year
Commissioners,
has to be more, there has to be more advertisement for that day. Because there were people like I knew on the west side that had a sibling pass in the Vietnam War. And they weren't there, and they're there every year. So I think maybe they didn't realize
The
that
change
that
with
was,
the
the
date.
change of the date was the Vietnam only, which it should be.
Yes.
Lou is,
Yes, just a quick PSA, beginning Tuesday, April 25th, we begin our summer-long electronics collection. We've expanded it to appliances at the Bev Road facility. So every Tuesday, Thursday, every third Saturday, we kick that off again, beginning on Tuesday, the 25th of April.
Oh, great.
all right. Anybody else? Okay, Anthony?
Yeah, I just want to congratulate Hannah. Look forward to working with you. Everything will be nice, and you're a young person. You've got a lot to learn in there, and I'm sure you'll get a grasp with everything, so welcome aboard. The laying of the roses, that's always a very beautiful ceremony. It's very solemn when you see the families being led by a veteran up, you know, to the memorial with the name on it. They lay the rose down. It always grabs you. And then Friday, we honored two veterans, a 100-year-old veteran, Mr. Duffett, and Susan Karanchek from Veteran Service Commission. The DD board had that ceremony in Struthers, and it was very nice. They feed all the seniors and recognize the veterans. Mr. Gabriel does a wonderful job. And I just wanted to say a few things about the storm that has impacted our area. And I know people are tired of hearing me on and on about cutting the trees down by the wires. Well, I was in Camel, and they had the Greek Independence Day ceremony up there, and the storm came so bad, I barely could get out of Camel. And I saw these trees just laying into the wires, and the wires were like rubber bands. And that happened through Poland, Camel, I mean, most of the Mahoning Valley. And I've talked to Troy at First Energy, and I've said the same thing. I know their lines are on top and they trim the trees away, but you have internet companies and cable companies that are on the same pole. The utility company has a right of way. I cannot understand for good conscience that you would trim a tree like this, let the wires go between it, cut the tree down. This would not have happened. The impact would not have been that severe if they start paring back the trees. I think it's something that the state needs to look at with respect to the easements that all utility companies that use those poles have an obligation. Because I've known people, they were out of power for 5 days. A couple people called me, their cellars got flooded. They lost all of their meat in the refrigerators, and if they didn't have a fireplace, well, they were actually cold. And sure, they could have went to a hotel or stayed at a fit. That's not the idea. Why don't we start looking at, if you're going to send a crew out to cut a tree, it's almost like giving somebody a haircut. You're not solving the problem. The branches are still there. If you don't believe me, go down North Lima Road through Poland and tell me if I'm wrong. There's tree branches as big, half size of a car, that's going right over the wires. Why is that allowed to happen? So that's been my mantra, and you know that, Dave, for a long time. I've talked to different townships and everything. I just think it's time that we start looking at this, because some people can't take a hit like that. And I know the utility companies are bringing water to their house and all that stuff, but some of them were really impacted. They lost all their meat, they lost the stuff in the refrigerators, they couldn't get in their houses. There was elderly people that had to plug in their oxygen tanks. Not everybody can afford a $10,000 generator. So I was hearing people, you know, giving calls. I'm sure we all got calls, and all of that is real. So if we could start looking at that, cut the trees down. You shouldn't have a 20-foot tree 1 foot from the curb off a state highway that's 70 feet in the air with branches that are 2 feet around, encumbering the wires. Why aren't we cutting them? So that's just my how I feel about it.
They should have saved that 60 million they spent trying to fix races and spent it on cutting trees down, you know,
And you know, Dave's right about that. And another thing I think the utility companies should do is they should have a town hall meeting and have people come in who were negatively impacted with respect to not having power, and seeing if something they can get reimbursed for their expenses. That's just me. Maybe I'm wrong.
The sad thing is just like Jerry was saying earlier, you have elderly people that may or may not have family, and he was talking about a woman who lived in a home that was over a historic home. Tree fell on her porch. She was in her 90s and had a caretaker there. And I know my aunt calls me and, talk about her story. She lived in East Palestine for 25 years. And 4 years ago, she downsized and moved to Deer Creek right off Klingon.
Right.
And when she did, she had all this stuff, from having 20 acres of property that she couldn't move with her. And one of them was a Honda generator, right? She gave it to me.
Oh, good.
So when the power goes out, she's at home and her power went out, Friday night at the storm. They said it wouldn't be back to the following Wednesday. I took the generator, my brother-in-law and myself, took it over to her house and we wired it into the furnace and got her furnace running, off the generator. Actually, her furnace wired from the generator draws less amps than one little space heater that you'd put under your desk.
Wow.
All it is like running the light, with the electric coming on. It runs the blower and, the heating elements are the things that make the impact. So, fortunately, she didn't want to leave, come to our house. She has her pets and, and things of that nature. And she would, Jimmy, she was a lieutenant colonel in Vietnam
Wow.
and
That's a story.
30-plus year retired nurse. And her and her friend lived together they're both the same age. You call them both our aunts, but it's our aunt and her friend that are in their 80s that share the home together. So the two of them were both retired lieutenant colonels in the Vietnam War. So and they just, nothing phases them. But, we went over and got her heat going and got a refrigerator going and things. But, there's so many people, like you alluded to, Anthony, that don't have somebody to do that or take care of them or can't go to a hotel and spend a couple $100 a night. It's crazy, and they tell us our electric bills are going through the roof in the next 6 months. Is the warning double, which is a travesty. I'm tired of never seeing a story about the largest corruption trial in the history of the United States in politics. That should be all over the front page on why we subsidize power companies on the backs of the residents' electric bill. And so that has come to fruition. And now hopefully, what's the repercussion? The companies will double our electric bills and turn around and retaliate, just like big business that don't pay taxes. They don't get their stockholders making $1 million a share. Then they turn around and gouge the consumers. So, it's just a never ending saga. So
I think in that case, a PUCO has to step up to the plate with that because when you
who
start.
appoints the PUCO?
No, I understand, but the people have to really
You know,
get in there.
who
and-
appoints the PUCO? Who's on the Ohio Supreme Court? Who's gonna, what's gonna happen? So
Well, I think.
there's lots of
I
things that
understand
goes.
that they're not appointed by regular people, but I also think the general population of Ohio, if this is truly the case, we're gonna see $500 electric bills if they're doubling up, especially when the air conditioning's on in the summer. I mean, who could afford that?
Right.
They need to be notified that 60 million that was taken needs to be taken back and put into the fund in the state for the people that actually need the money to help them pay for these bills. I mean, they're not gonna be able to afford it. I had a woman call me from Austintown, lived in an Austintown apartment on a very fixed income. And I think I told you about that, those labor apartments that they have on Joseph
Night
Apartments and
towers,
the ones in Boardman. Her rent is going up double, so it's $620 now, it's going to $820. Now, they're $2,200 a month total, her and her husband. Can't afford that. I mean, you just can't afford that. Our seniors are getting killed because back in their working days.
Literally.
They're kidding, yeah. I mean, back in their working days, their years, making 10,000 a year was big money. Or 15,000, that was a huge amount of money. You can't live on that today. Cannot live on that. You can't live on 1,200 a month. You can't.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So that's my spill.
Carol's right, and you know, and I've said this
I'm just so
earlier,
pissed.
I think our utility bills now are gonna be equal to a car payment. And how's come nobody in government's talking about a rate cut? It's constantly increase after increase after increase. Why aren't they cutting the rates and trying to make things easier for the taxpayer?
Well, the PUCO has to help do that with those legislators.
And they have
in
no
Columbus
teeth. They
And
have
in Washington.
nothing.
They need to get with the program.
I'd love to sit in on those meetings down there. I kind of wished I was in the state
Jimmy,
legislature.
Jimmy
Nobody
and
will
I-
raise hell about it.
Jimmy and I were at a PUCO meeting
That's what I
Back,
take on. I
what,
take on the
8, 9
utility
years
companies
ago
if I was
about
down
the
there.
same thing.
Right, yes, we were.
Okay, I would also add, you know, the veterans that we honored at the luncheon was amazing. And one of our own, Susan Krawcheck, the Veteran Services Director. Did I pronounce her name right? Krawcheck? I always butcher her name. It's like, but she, 25-year veteran. I mean, God bless Susan. I mean, and just well-deserved honor and Jimmy, what was, Duffett, Jimmy
Mr.
Duffett,
Duffett.
God bless him.
How about the
100,
woman?
was he 102 or 100
100 years old.
100 years old? Oh, my goodness,
Amazing guy.
it was great.
There
Yeah,
was
and
a
that young,
female
the
veteran
lady that was there
98 years old
was
too.
98, that she was there as well.
Let's
you know,
not forget
so-
the female veteran.
And Conley gave me, Leo Conley gave me a couple of the Purple Heart medals a while back, and I took them to my aunts that were both in the Vietnam War, and he said to give these to them to, you know, to show he was respecting what they'd done. Okay, with that being said, our next meeting will be Thursday, April 6th. Wow, April already. At 10 a.m., same place. Motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second,
Roll call.
Commissioner Remedy Agati?
yes.
Commissioner Trafficante?
Yes.
Commissioner Ditzler?
Yes.